think about your commute home yesterday. Or, any drive you take all the time.
Oh, yeah. The autopilot drive.
Exactly. You navigate the traffic, you make the correct turns, you dodge the potholes, you pull into your driveway, and then you suddenly realize you have absolutely no memory of the last 20 minutes.
Right, like you were completely unconscious.
Yes, entirely unconscious, yet somehow you're still moving forward. And I mean, it's a mildly terrifying phenomenon when it happens in a car. But today, we're looking at a piece of writing that argues we are doing this exact same thing with our deepest life goals.
Which is arguably even more terrifying.
Oh, totally. So, welcome to this custom deep dive. Our mission today is all about moving beyond that familiar, slightly sinking feeling you get when you realize yet another year has passed.
Yeah, and you haven't moved the needle at all.
Right. You haven't moved the needle on the personal dreams you claim are the most important things in your life. We're pulling insights from a really brilliant article titled Get Serious About What Matters to You.
And just for some context, that's an excerpt from a broader work called The Gravity of Intent, Moving Beyond Autopilot.
Which is such a great title. So the author's overarching goal here is to help us transition from merely wishing for things to taking concrete systemic actions, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the crucial part of this transition is doing it without triggering that massive wave of overwhelm that usually, well, that just shuts us down before we even begin.
Right.
So we are essentially looking at the mechanics of how to step out of that unconscious commute and actually grab the steering wheel.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the author starts by warning us against the specific danger of coasting. We let our actual life's ambitions just sit on the back burner indefinitely.
Which is such a common trap.
It really is. And I mean, in cooking, the back burner is a deliberate strategy. You turn down the heat, you let the flavors meld.
Right. It has a purpose.
Exactly. But with our personal goals, the back burner isn't a strategy at all. It's just a graveyard.
Yeah, it's where things go to be completely forgotten.
While we deal with whatever immediate emergency is screaming in our face today.
Right. It is the absolute definition of neglected potential. We tend to treat our deepest wishes like they have an infinite shelf life, like we can just get to them whenever.
Like we have all the time in the world.
Exactly. But the alternative the text presents is to actively bring these hopes to the forefront. And what's interesting is the pivotal first step the author identifies isn't an action.
Wait, really? It's not an action?
No, you don't immediately start building a website or signing up for a marathon or whatever. The first step is purely an internal shift.
Oh, okay.
It's a decision to consciously treat what matters to you with the gravity it deserves.
The gravity it deserves. I like that word. Let's look at the mechanics of that word, because gravity isn't just a metaphor for importance, right? In physics, gravity implies weight. It implies a pull.
Yeah, exactly. When you assign gravity to a goal, you're fundamentally changing its mass in your mind.
Changing its mass, yeah.
It stops being this fleeting, weightless wish that just, floats through your consciousness when you're daydreaming in the shower.
Right. It becomes solid.
Yes.
Yeah.
It becomes a central mass. It becomes
Yeah.
a force that actually begins to warp the space around it. It starts to shape your decisions, your daily schedule, your priorities.
So everything else sort of revolves around it.
Right. Everything else in your life starts to establish an orbit around this new heavy intention.
It pulls things toward it. I mean, if my goal has gravity, it pulls my spare energy toward it. It pulls my Saturday morning toward it.
Right.
But this leads me to a structural flaw in how we operate. And I really want to look at the psychology here. Why is it so incredibly easy for us to treat our own deeply held dreams with less gravity than our everyday mundane obligations?
Well, that's $1 million question.
Because, I mean, I will move heaven and earth, sacrifice sleep, stress myself out to meet a minor arbitrary deadline for a client.
Oh, we all do.
But the personal project that could fundamentally change my life trajectory, I'll just push that to next month without a second thought.
Yeah, you're hitting on a core quirk of human behavioral psychology there. It's the difference between external and internal stakes.
Okay, break that down for me.
Well, mundane obligations, like your client's deadline, they come with immediate, tangible, external consequences.
Right, the client gets mad.
Exactly. And the human brain is wired to prioritize immediate threats.
Yeah.
If you don't meet that deadline, your boss is angry, a client is disappointed, you might lose money or, social standing.
The friction is entirely external.
And it's happening right now. Your amygdala recognizes that as a literal threat, and mobilizes your energy to solve it.
But our deeply held dreams don't trigger the amygdala at all.
They really don't, because there are rarely immediate external consequences for ignoring your own potential.
Yeah.
If you delay writing your book for another day, or you don't take the first step in starting your business, or even just, neglect to have a meaningful conversation with your spouse,
Yeah.
no alarm bell rings.
The world just keeps spinning.
Right. The world doesn't stop. The only person who knows you failed today is you. And it is infinitely easier to renegotiate a deadline with yourself than with a paying client.
Because we just let ourselves off the hook. There's no social penalty for staying on autopilot.
Exactly. So assigning gravity, as the author suggests, is the deliberate act of manufacturing your own internal stakes.
Oh, I see.
It's the process of looking at this goal and deciding, this matters enough to me that I am going to treat it as if an incredibly demanding client is waiting for it.
You have to become the demanding client.
You really do. You have to manufacture the urgency that the outside world just isn't going to provide for you.
I am the client. Okay. So let's assume we've made that psychological shift. We've decided to give our goals gravity. We are officially stepping off autopilot.
Good. First step taken.
But then the immediate predictable roadblock that almost everyone crashes right into is feeling entirely overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the project.
Oh, yeah. The wall of overwhelm.
Right. We go from completely ignoring the goal to feeling paralyzed by the magnitude of what it actually takes to achieve it.
Yeah, the cognitive load just spikes.
Yeah.
You swing from zero engagement to trying to process like a 10-year plan in a single afternoon.
And nobody can do that. But the author provides a very clear mechanism for bypassing this paralysis. They use the example of starting a new business idea.
Which is a great example.
Yeah. So you have this concept you're excited about. The text advises brainstorming the tasks, getting it all out on paper. But there is a massive, crucial caveat.
Right.
The author explicitly notes that you do not have to figure everything out from the outset. You just need to figure out your next right move.
Yes. Just the very next move.
The text emphasizes that beginning is the hardest part, but taking that first step makes things flow, and you're allowed to course correct as you go.
What's fascinating here is the psychological transition the author is guiding us through. It's the shift from macro planning to micro action.
Micro action, I like that.
Because when you try to build a perfect, comprehensive business plan before you even take step one, you're forcing your brain's working memory to carry the cognitive load of the entire project all at once.
Which is exhausting.
It's impossible. It has to process the marketing, the taxes, the potential failure, the product design. The brain simply cannot hold that many variables simultaneously without experiencing severe anxiety.
It actually makes me think of how complex video games render graphics.
Oh, that's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, like if you're playing a massive open world game, the computer processor doesn't render the entire universe, every city, and every mountain all at the exact same time.
Like the system would instantly crash.
Exactly. The processor only renders the immediate room you're standing in. As you walk through a door, it renders the next hallway.
That's a perfect analogy.
Your brain needs to treat massive goals the exact same way. You don't need to render the 5-year projection. You just need to render the email you have to send today.
And that is the exact mechanism of the next right move. The author's permission to simply course correct entirely removes the paralyzing pressure of needing a flawless plan.
It takes the pressure off.
It replaces the anxiety of the macro with the momentum of the micro. You only need enough information to make one good decision.
Just one.
Right. And once you make that move, your vantage point fundamentally changes. You're standing in a new room, you have new information, and then you render the next right move.
It's like walking through incredibly heavy fog. You look ahead and you have zero visibility of the actual destination miles away.
Yeah.
If you stand there demanding the fog clear so you can see the entire route before you take a single step, you will be frozen there until you die.
You'll never move.
Right. You just need enough visibility to take the next 3 feet in front of you.
Yeah.
You take those 3 feet and magically the next 3 feet reveal themselves.
Exactly.
But let me push back on this a little bit because human nature actively fights this. We love planning.
Oh, we love a good spreadsheet.
We do. Is the obsession we all seem to have with having a bulletproof plan, whether it's for a business launch or a new diet, is that obsession actually just a highly sophisticated, disguised form of procrastination?
Yes. Absolutely.
Does planning just keep us safely on autopilot while giving us the illusion of momentum?
100%. Planning is a brilliant sanctuary from vulnerability.
Wow, a sanctuary from vulnerability.
Yeah, because when you're building a spreadsheet or Researching LLC structures or color-coding a workout schedule, you aren't risking rejection.
That's so true.
You aren't facing the reality of actually trying something and having it fail. You can tell yourself, I'm working on my business, but all you're really doing is shuffling papers in the absolute safety of your own mind.
You haven't actually stepped into the ring.
Right. By telling you to abandon the perfect plan and just execute the next right move, the author is stripping away that psychological hiding place. You're forced to step into the arena and actually risk something.
You have to step into the fog and face the possibility of tripping.
Yes, and as the text points out, it's the initiation of movement that creates flow. The friction is always highest, right before the very first movement begins.
Let's look at the biological cost of that movement, though. So you've assigned gravity, you've abandoned the perfect plan, you've taken that first step into the fog. You're in motion.
You're doing it.
But navigating uncertainty and forcing yourself to take new actions demands massive cognitive resources. I mean, as anyone who has ever enthusiastically started a new gym habit on January 1st, only to abandon it by February knows, you cannot run on the adrenaline of a new decision forever.
No, you definitely can't.
Willpower is a notoriously finite resource. The initial motivation is absolutely going to run out. So how does the author suggest we survive that inevitable drop in energy so we don't end up right back on the back burner?
This is where the author introduces the necessity of systems. Yeah. Systems are the structural antidote to the biological unreliability of motivation. Once you achieve one small goal or make one next right move, the only way to sustain that progress without burning out your executive function is to set up a step-by-step, repeatable process.
Okay, and the text mentions looking at your routine and literally physically blocking out time each week to sit down and tackle what is outstanding.
Right.
And the author provides a really grounded personal example. They mention enrolling in online courses this year to guarantee that those courses actually get completed rather than just becoming another abandoned tab on their browser. They implemented a system.
Which was so simple, too.
Very simple. They set aside dedicated time every single Sunday to work on them. That's it.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, let's look at why time blocking works on a neurological level. Because it's not just about remembering to do a task.
Oh, it's not?
No, it is about bypassing decision fatigue. Every single time you have to decide whether or not to work on your goal, your brain burns a small amount of glucose.
Just to make the decision.
Just to decide. If you wake up on a Sunday and ask yourself, do I have the energy to work on this course today? Should I do it now or maybe after lunch?
Yeah.
You are draining the exact mental energy you need to actually do the learning.
You exhaust yourself just negotiating the terms of the work.
Precisely. Time blocking transforms a vague intention into a concrete physical architecture. By dedicating Sunday to the course, the calendar has already made the decision.
A decision is made.
You outsource the executive functioning to the schedule. You don't negotiate with yourself, you just execute.
Right.
You're giving that back burner item, prime, non-negotiable real estate, saving all your cognitive energy for the task itself.
It makes me think of a massive heavy metal flywheel.
Okay, yeah.
When you first walk up to a heavy flywheel, it takes an immense amount of physical effort like straining, pushing with all your might against the dead weight just to get it to turn one single inch.
Yeah, that's making the start.
Exactly. That's finding the first next right move. It requires high motivation and high energy.
That is the peak of the friction curve.
But once you finally get that heavy wheel turning, the physics change. You don't have to keep pushing with maximum grunting effort.
Right, the momentum takes over.
You just need to give it a steady, rhythmic tap to keep the momentum going. The built-in system like blocking out your Sundays is that rhythmic tap. It keeps the flywheel spinning smoothly with a fraction of the initial effort.
That's a great way to put it.
You aren't starting from a dead stop every week. You're just maintaining the spin.
Maintaining the spin is what ensures those goals with gravity are continually addressed. The system carries the load when your motivation just cannot.
What I find really compelling about the author's personal example here, setting aside Sundays for an online course, is how incredibly mundane it is.
Yeah.
Especially compared to the grand cinematic idea of chasing your dreams.
But the mundanity is the point.
Right. Because we talk about life goals and we instinctively picture massive disruptive events. You know, quitting the corporate job, moving to a cabin in the woods, launching a tech startup that changes the world.
The montage moment.
Exactly, the movie montage moments. But the author purposefully anchors this philosophy in completing an online course. And the text also mentions taking deliberate steps to nurture a marriage.
Which is daily, quiet work.
It highlights for us that these exact same principles, Assigning gravity, identifying the microaction, building a system to bypass decision fatigue, they apply to literally any scale of personal growth.
The architecture of progress doesn't care about the prestige of the goal. Nurturing a marriage isn't a single explosive romantic gesture.
No, it's not.
It is a long-term commitment that requires slow, steady, systemic effort. It requires a rhythm. Completing a professional certification is exactly the same.
Yeah.
The neurological process of stepping off autopilot and taking conscious control is identical, whether you're trying to build a multinational corporation or you're simply trying to learn conversational Spanish before vacation.
The mechanism is universal. So as we wrap this up, we want to look at what this actually means for you, the person listening to this right now. We want to circle back to the author's closing sentiment, which serves as both a comfort and really a quiet challenge.
Yeah, it's a powerful thought.
They remind us that those goals you set for yourself on New Year's Day or on your birthday or on some random Tuesday 3 years ago when you felt a sudden burst of inspiration, those goals are still waiting for you.
They haven't expired just because you put them on the back burner. The potential is still there, completely dormant, just waiting for you to assign it gravity.
And whether your specific personal goal is getting that complex business idea out of your head and into the real world, finally finishing that coding course you paid for, or taking deliberate, quiet steps to improve the communication in your marriage. The ultimate advice extracted from this piece is astonishingly simple.
Just begin.
Make a start. You don't need the flawless 10-year map. Move slowly, move consistently, rely on your systems, but begin.
It's an incredibly empowering realization to accept that stepping off autopilot isn't some monumental one-time event reserved for January 1st or Monday mornings.
No.
It's a choice that is fully available to you on any given day at any given hour. You have the agency right now to decide that your internal ambitions carry as much weight as your external obligations.
You can render the next room.
Exactly. You can render the next room. You can build a system today that protects your momentum for tomorrow.
You just have to decide to take the wheel. Think back one more time to that unconscious commute we started with. That terrifying feeling of waking up in your driveway and realizing you drove home on pure autopilot.
Such a strange feeling.
It's comfortable, it's efficient, and it's safe. But it fundamentally means you are just a passenger in your own life. You're letting your default conditioning choose the destination, and you deserve to be the one actively driving. So we want to leave you with one final thought to mull over as you go about the rest of your day, whatever you have planned. Just let this question sit with you. If you decided today to treat your own personal goals, your deepest dreams, your relationships, your continued learning with the exact same unshakable gravity, the exact same panic over failure, and the exact same rigid scheduling that you automatically give to your obligations for your boss or your clients, what would your life look like a year from right now?